Hey guys, what's up? I got some comments the other day on one of my videos, and I've got these actually quite a few times about this guitar particularly. The comment that I got the other day was, that guitar's a copy, too bad. That's right, it is a copy. I actually got it in 2012, and I've done tons and tons of work. It has over $900 worth of parts in this thing. Now this is not a Chinese copy, this is actually a Korean copy. And for those of you who know about Chapman guitars, and many models have been made for several years in Korea. They actually have very good luthiers there. I myself am a luthier and have been building guitars for many years, and I just picked this up because I seen it on eBay. They had another one that was like a floral pattern that I almost bought as well. Now I picked this guitar up. I don't know what the body is made out of. The neck seems to be maple. It doesn't have really thick doubles on it, but it looks like it was painted because I actually sanded it. But you can see here how it has a line. I actually sanded off the back of the neck and made it even skinnier, and when I did that, that line came off, so that line was just painted on there. And this is actually a box, where on a real gym it wouldn't be a box like this, you know. And these angles as well that are here are actually shaved down, and this part here is actually, it goes to a kind of grades off. This handle is a little bit odd, you know, a little bit strange, but it's still there. I did like Steve Vai. It's Velcro, and it's got a little deal inside there, you know, to keep the strings from rattling. Now I do want to get an edged tremolo system on it with a locker. There's like a little spring there that you can lock it down so that it stays in tune, and you can pull it off so you can dive bomb if you want to. Now I set this guitar up when I bought it. It was actually not very well set up. It wasn't a bad guitar. I checked the scale length and everything. Everything was right. It doesn't go out of tune. It's a decent guitar. But I didn't like the way it sounded, so what I did is I actually took and put a sustainer. It took me a long time to find it. I looked on eBay, and I looked, and I tried to find the real sustainer system that Steve Vai has in Flow. So this is actually the real sustainer, and the only one I could find is black. I was looking around seeing if I could find some other color besides black, but it was all I could find. And when I put it in, a friend of mine had a guitar that had 3 sets of cruiser pickups. I really am into what's his name? I can't remember his name. I'm stupid today here. Tim something or other, I forget. He uses cruiser pickups, and I really like the kind of jazzy tone he gets. And this is the pickup he uses. So this is basically the real sustainer, the same sustainer that Steve Vai has in his guitars, except for I believe his guitar has a different pickup here in this position, and then he put a single coil sustainer in it. So it actually has a single coil here that is a DiMarzio, and then he has the sustainer, Fernandez sustainer here, and then it has some other pickup, and then the Flow, which I have the Flow here. So this is a cruiser and a full sustainer pickup, and then it has the same system that his has basically. This has an off. I had to take it to a shop because it didn't have any instructions. I couldn't figure out how to get it to wire up, so I took it to 3 different shops, and the last guy is the only one that could get it to work. And he had it to where it would sustain in the same way throughout this whole system. But what it's supposed to do is it's supposed to do the note, and then in that position it's supposed to do the octave, and then in that position it's supposed to do the note and the octave together in unison. What this does is the note, the octave, and nothing, you know. And then this actually turns it off and on, and then this is how much sustain you get. Now the thing that I didn't like, and I wanted to set this guitar up about most guitars that are like this, that have active pickups in them, is typically if you don't have a battery in the guitar, you can't play it, you know. I don't like that. So most of the time when I set up my guitars that have active style pickups in them, I set them up in a way to where even with no battery in it, they can be played. So this guitar, in that position, if there's no battery in it, no sound, which is really cool because you can do some Eddie Van Halen stuff with it. And the reason why I like that is because typically it makes your battery go dead. So if you're on stage and your battery goes dead, you can't play your guitar anymore, and it really sucks. So I like to keep it to where I can still play on stage if I want to. So what I did is I set this up here. You can see this little switch that's back here on the back. If I flip it, let me see if I can get it up here to the camera where you can see. If I flip it, I don't know if you can see inside that little hole that's right there, there's actually a red light. See it? There it is. See? And watch, I'll flip it off. See it go off? Goes on. Off. See? Now what that's telling you is inside here is the sustainer unit. You see? And there's like a little red light there. And if I flip it on, that little red light goes on there. Now, this will tell you that the battery is on. So I put the battery here instead of making a compartment for it. So it actually sits right there, and it's also Velcroed on. So it allows me to turn on and off the battery so my battery don't die when I'm on stage or when I unplug it. First thing I do when I get off stage with it, flip that off. Now the sustainer is gone, and I can still play it, you know. So it's pretty cool. Now, the other thing that I want to get, like I said, is the edge tremolo. This thing says it has a licensed Ibanez tremolo system on it. It's not the, you can see here how it's really high, so it's kind of like a, it says Ibanez on it, but I don't think it's a real Ibanez. I think it's some Korean made Ibanez, you know. And the wiring I redid. The scallops, the 4 scallops that are in the neck are poorly done. I will say. You can see here how those are, they're poorly done. You can see how there's actually an edge. There's an edge there. It's about maybe a 1/16 of an inch on this one, this one, this one, and this one, and you can see it sculpts to the back of this, but on the front of it, it actually has an edge there. And they did it really deep, and they're not all the same, you know. So, you know, if you can look in there, you can see how they're not all the same, and that I don't like. So I may clean that up at a later date. Might even get a different neck for it. But this neck is actually in pretty decent shape. It's pretty good. Let me show you this. You can see here on the back it says made in Korea. See? So it's not a Chinese copy, and it was actually pretty well built, pretty well put together. I was really surprised. They used quite a few cheap parts for it. But other than that, it's a pretty decent piece of machinery. You know, not too bad. But like I say, I think through licensing, they can't necessarily copy like perfect. If they copy it perfect, then you can't do it. So it's like close, basically. They didn't do the body exact. The front part of the body is obviously, it looks pretty damn close. I myself have had a real gem. I had a 7-string as well that I sold not too long ago. I did a video with the real 7-string that I had. And I also had, the 7-string I had was a black one with the mirrored pick guard. It was a new guitar. And then I had a Korean-built cream de mint, or not cream de mint, it's seafoam green. Actually, my Gretsch is cream de mint. But it was a seafoam green. And those are actually made in Korea. So, same place this is made. So, I think what might have happened is Ibanez and Team Jim and stuff found out that they were being made in China and Korea and stuff. And a lot of companies are starting to just say, well, people want to buy these guitars, but they want to get them cheaper. They, you know, you don't want to spend. A lot of people don't have the money to spend, but would like to have a Jim, but can't afford, you know, $4,000 for a guitar. And for those people, they've got cheaper models now that are made, in fact, in China. You know, Gibson actually, I went to a Japanese music store the other day, and I seen that Gibson has a bunch of Juniors and Les Paul copies and stuff like that that are licensed through Gibson now and are being sold from China, and they're less than 400,000 yen or 40,000 yen, which is about $325 or $330 US. So, you know, a lot of companies are starting to get on the back of these, and by doing that, what helps is that actually makes the quality better. They go over there and they train the people, and they say, look, if you're going to make our guitars, we don't mind that you make them cheap. We want to sell them cheap because people want to buy them, obviously. People are buying them from you. But we want you to make them quality, and we want you to make sure that the scale lengths are right, and so that they play right and stuff like that, so that the scales aren't off and things. So they actually go over there and they do some training with them and help them learn how to build things a little bit better, have a little bit better quality, so that the guitar actually can be played, which is one of the biggest things about Chinese guitars. Is a lot of times they look really nice, but they are only just you know, table weights or something, you know, like paperweights, because when you start to play them, they don't stay in tune. The frets aren't even in the right place, so when you play a note, it doesn't fret at the right note, so you're out of key. And when you bend it, typically it goes out, it loses its tone, things like that. Well, one thing that I did with this guitar as well is I actually put jumbo stainless steel frets in it, and then I polished off the edges and stuff. So I've redid all of the frets in this guitar. At the same time, I should have probably redid the scalloping in it, but I didn't. I also really dig, this is something that I really like about what I did to this guitar. I'm really into Buckethead. I dig Buckethead. And because I dig Buckethead, and I also dig Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave and the Night Watchman, he has a switch on his guitar that like a toggle switch, Tom Morello. And I tried doing that on this guitar for a cutoff, you know. So I actually have two cutoffs on this guitar. Like I said, if I turn the battery off in this position, it's a cutoff as well, you know. But I liked better, and I actually don't like this switch that's here because I don't like the box. I want a circle is what I want, and I'd like it to not be so cheesy looking like this. So I may end up changing this if I can get a different deal. But what I'd like, what this is it's like the buckethead style. It's a kill switch, so it actually turns off the guitar, you know, so that's really cool. So I can use this to like play with. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and the way it's set up is typical. You know, it's basically this is this pickup in this position here. It's actually this, and this, and then we got, you know, the same as you would normally have. It's basically just this guitar, and then in this position it's actually this one and this one together, and then in this one it is actually just this one, you know, so it's just typical wiring of the guitar. So there's nothing special about it, but I did do all the wiring. It actually has inside of the guitar, it's actually been shielded, so I shielded the guitar. The only thing I don't like that I still want to replace is this here, and I also want to replace maybe the tuners, because I don't know that I'm going to keep the tuners, even though they've been on there for 3 years. They seem to be doing pretty decent. If they break, I'll probably just grab a new set. I wouldn't mind having some lockers up there. But yeah, but let's give it a run through, and I'll play it through clean tones, and you can see. Let me see if I can move it here a little bit. Yeah, I'll play some clean tones with it, and I'll run it through all the pickups for you, and then we'll turn on the sustainer, and you can see how the sustainer works. Okay. That's the flow pickup. Now this is this pickup and the sustainer pickup together. But it's only this pickup because I don't have the battery on in the back. So this is the cruiser. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm actually using an amp that I don't really care too much for, but I've been using it just because it has a headphone jack, and if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that the bitch next door is kind of a bitch, like I say. And my regular amp that I really dig using, which is the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, it has a single 12-inch, I think, in it. This has two 12s, and they're Celestian speakers, and it actually has a headphone out. So I just had this amp hooked up. Now it has a lot of effects in it and stuff, and they're not such great effects, so I don't really dig it that much. I'd rather use the Deluxe, but it was just hooked up to this amp, so that's what we're using. So, yeah, and it's right there. So now we'll go to here. This is basically just that again. And then there you go. See, it's off. See, so it's really cool. And then, like I say, I have the okay, now we're going to flip it on. You see how it works back here? That, like I say, it needs to have a mix. It doesn't have a mix. then that's how much. That little. Cruiser. Now you'll notice something. I don't actually have any distortion on the amp at the moment. It's in a clean tone. No effects, no nothing. It's just in a clean tone. I went to this Cruiser pickup, and the Cruiser pickup with this pickup actually gives you a distorted tone. It's kind of cool. So even when you're playing clean, you can get a really nice distorted tone, and then if you roll off the volume, you can get it clean and then roll into a distorted tone. So it's kind of cool. Hear that? Now I'm at low volume and it's... Hear how it sounds distorted? Yeah, so then we got the this position here is actually this pickup and this pickup together. Now we're in just the flow. This is just the flow.